Are expensive items truly better than more affordable options? At first glance, it may seem like that's the case. Higher prices often reflect better quality materials, well thought out products backed by a team of the best and brightest in that industry, plus flawless execution and skilled craftsmanship, right? This all seems straightforward enough, but it's actually a little bit more complex than that. This is a topic that I find truly fascinating, and I recently went down a little bit of a rabbit hole to try and find out the answer to this intriguing question. Is expensive truly better? Let's find out together. The first thing we need to do is examine all of the components behind pricing, starting with probably the most important one, perceived value. Back when I was studying business at uni, this was a concept that would come up in nearly every single economics class. No matter the topic, we'd always circle back to it. Perceived value pricing is defined as the value which customers are willing to pay for a particular product or service based on their perception about the product. It's a pretty simple concept, really. Basically, the amount that someone's willing to spend on a product has less to do with what it actually costs to make, so the materials, labor, and production behind it, and everything to do with how valuable they think it is. One of the most classic examples of this is the luxury market, which runs almost entirely on perception. But that's something that we will get a little bit more into later on in the video. The key takeaway is this. For something to feel worth the money to you, you have to be on the same page as the brand. You have to believe that the price they've set reflects the value that you're getting in return. So how exactly do brands decide on the price of a product? Well, it usually starts with the base cost of production. This is what it actually costs to make the item. This will include things like the materials used, labor, manufacturing, packaging, all the basic stuff. Then comes the bigger part of the equation, the markup. And the markup isn't just about profit. This will typically include things like salaries, marketing cost, warehousing, storage, and a little wiggle room. Basically, a little margin to keep the business running smoothly and profitably. Now, most affordable brands will stop there. But when it comes to luxury or aspiring luxury brands, there's an extra layer added on top, a much higher multiplier. This is where perceived value comes in. These brands price their products not just based on what they cost to make, but on what they want you to think they're worth. And this is how something can end up being so expensive. Not because it costs that much more to make, but because the brand wants it to feel more valuable. I'd say that about 9 times out of 10, these ultra expensive luxury items like bags, shoes, ready to wear, beauty products, and jewelry have at least a 10x multiplier. That means that basically what you're paying for is 10 times the cost of developing, producing, and marketing the item. And most of the time, the multiplier is much higher than that. This is what's really been going on with the crazy price increases we've seen over the last decade from brands like Chanel, for example. It's not that the cost of production has skyrocketed that much. What's really changing is the multiplier. They're raising prices to protect the perceived value of their products and the exclusivity of their brand. So that brings us to the big question. How do we know when we're paying for actual quality and when we're just paying for perception? To answer that, we're going to have to talk about pricing's best friend, marketing. Have you ever wondered why marketing is such a massive industry? Why companies pour millions into ad campaigns, influencer partnerships, and branding strategies? The influencer marketing industry alone is worth billions, and globally, marketing as a whole is estimated to be worth around $1.7 trillion a year. And yes, that's trillion with a T. So why is that? It all comes back to our old friend, perceived value. You see, what each of us sees as valuable is deeply personal. It's shaped by our emotions, desires, backgrounds, and beliefs. And since it's a lot trickier to pin down than the hard cost of materials and labor, marketing steps in to fill the gap. Its job is to shape your perception, to convince you that a product is worth the asking price. And believe me, I should know. I've spent years working in marketing, so I know exactly how powerful it can be. Marketing is designed to draw you in, and it's deeply woven into every part of a brand, from the logo to the color palette to the story they tell and the values they claim to stand for. It's all a carefully curated image. Visit any company's website and you'll be greeted by marketing at every turn, all working together to try and convince you that this is the best your money can buy. It promises results, whether it's something tangible from repairing damaged hair to clearing acne, and sometimes it's stuff that's a little bit more abstract, like promising that lifestyle you've always wanted, or having people perceive you as elegant and successful, to giving you confidence in yourself, to giving you that elusive je ne sais quoi you've been chasing. Depending on what the product is, the marketing campaign will aim to tap into your more unconscious desires and insecurities. It's designed to strike a chord with your emotions, and unfortunately, it's often your more vulnerable emotions, like insecurity, fear, and even guilt, that marketing will tend to lean on the most. This is exactly why so many common marketing phrases are designed to spark urgency, scarcity, and exclusivity. They want you to feel like if you don't act now, you're gonna miss out, and that fear is exactly how they get your money. This is also why companies that practice virtue signaling can be so effective, because they're playing on your emotions. Although the real sweet spot for marketing requires a blend of both emotions and ignorance. Unfortunately, a lot of companies manage to justify high prices simply because most consumers don't know any better. Unless you work in that industry, you probably have no idea how much it costs to produce a certain item, and companies like it that way. It's in their best interest to keep that information under wraps so you don't question the price tag. Brands have become experts at bending the truth just enough to convince you that their product is the best out there. Take Chanel, for example. One of the biggest pillars of their brand is the legacy of their founder, and that they've leaned heavily into this glorified narrative that she revolutionized fashion and she was a self-made feminist who was ahead of her time. But that story is, let's just say, embellished, to say the least. By the way, if any of you are interested in the real story behind Coco Chanel and debunking all of her myths, I'll leave the video I did on her in the description, and I'll also leave it in the info card up above in case any of you are interested in watching it. However, more and more people are starting to question the real value of their purchases, especially in light of recent scandals that have really pulled back the curtain into how a lot of these products are actually made, like the recent Dior sweatshop scandal, for example. Last year, it was revealed that a very popular Dior bag that is priced at over 2,000 euros was being produced for 53 euros in a factory that was operating under appalling conditions. That is a 48x multiplier. Like, that is insane. Also, a lot of the workers were forced to sleep on site, so there was labor available 24/7, and there were a lot of them undocumented immigrants in Italy that had no formal contracts and were being paid next to nothing while living and working under horrifying circumstances. And as far as I know, Dior and LVMH are still under investigation for all of that. Then there's been the whole Van Cleef and Arpels situation that has been making waves recently on TikTok. When this girl bought a Van Cleef bracelet that is 18 karat gold for over $6,000, only to have it tarnish in 2 months. So she basically contacted the store, she went in to get it cleaned, and they returned it looking pretty much the same. And then she went back to the store to see if there was like anything that could be done. And they basically told her that she had two options. She could either pay to replace the entire motif that was tarnished, or she could pay to have it cleaned again, which is ridiculous. And to make matters worse, the manager at the store at first was like trying to gaslight her into thinking that there was nothing wrong with the bracelet and that it was just a shadow, when you could like very clearly see that like it was tarnished, like something was going on with the bracelet. So that whole situation has been horrible and crazy, and from what I know, it's still kind of like unfolding. Like she hasn't really gotten a solution from Van Cleef yet, from what I know. And I also even heard allegedly that Van Cleef blocked her on social media after she wouldn't stop like doing videos about the situation and like updating everyone, because that first video went super viral. Last I saw, it had over 10 million views. So yeah, it's been like a huge thing. And I also saw that since then there's like been more people coming forward that have owned Van Cleef pieces, or that own Van Cleef pieces, that also say like, oh, the same thing happened to me, or this other thing has happened to me. I saw a girl that had like two, like the same bracelet that the original girl had, and then like the matching necklace. They look different, like they look like different golds almost. It was so weird. Which, by the way, I mean, like, gold doesn't tarnish. Like, I mean, I have to wear gold most of the time because I'm allergic to anything that's not real gold or like silver, like metal wise. Like I'll get like a horrible rash. Or like if it's like earrings, I'll also get like my earrings like inflamed. Like it's awful. So everything I wear is gold. Like these are gold. My necklace that I always wear is gold. Like my earrings are gold. Everything I have is like usually gold, and like I have like some silver pieces. But like this, especially like my chain, I never take off. Like I sleep with this, I shower with this. I haven't taken it off in years, and if I do take it off, it's to like wear something different, like a different like chain or something that's also gold. But like I most of the time, like for 99% of the time, I have this on, and like I haven't taken it off in years. Like ever since I've been like a baby, I've had some sort of gold chain and like different like little thing on it. But like, and it's usually been the same because like I don't buy jewelry. Like everything I have has either been gifted to me, or it's been like heirloom pieces, like stuff that I've inherited. Like, so I also have some things that are so old, like it's crazy. Like this ring is like super old as well, and like the earrings as well, like my grandmother gave me. And like most of the stuff I have is also not only gold but like super old. Like I have stuff from my mother, from my grandmother. I have stuff from my great grandmother. I have a ring from my great grandmother. Like this ring is like probably almost 200 years old, and it looks brand new. Like it looks perfect. Like you could never tell that it was that old. Like the gold looks perfect, the gem is perfect, everything is perfect. And for this poor girl to have her $6,000, like over $6,000 bracelet tarnished, like that's unacceptable. And also, like, why is it even that expensive? Like, it's not something that's even custom made. Like, it doesn't even have like a gemstone on it. And like all the other things that do have gemstones, because her one was like the solid gold one, like it didn't have like a stone or anything, because I know they do like mother of pearl and stuff, but like they're all super polished. Like it's not even like, I don't know, but like anyway, it's just a whole crazy situation. And again, like gold doesn't tarnish, but it's stories like these that really crack the illusion of like luxury wide open, I think. Like they remind us that a high price tag doesn't necessarily mean higher quality. And with that in mind, let's talk about what it actually means for something to be good quality. What does good quality even mean anymore? I feel like that term gets thrown around by everyone and anyone on the internet these days. Like, I swear I've seen it all. From people who claim that objectively bad products are good quality, like Shein clothes, to others that are bashing perfectly good quality items just because they don't know how to take care of them properly. Like, I recently saw a creator here on YouTube whose entire YouTube channel is about how to spot high quality and low quality pieces, specifically like clothing and accessories. And I won't say who it is because the point of this is not to shame her, but I do think that this particular video she made does kind of illustrate my point really well, so that's why I'm using it as an example. But she made this short where she talks about expensive items she's bought that turned out to be really terrible quality. And one of the things that she talks about are this pair of Tiffany sterling silver earrings that were simply dirty. Like, they were discolored, sure, but like that's what happens to silver when it's exposed to air over time. Like, it's something you can't escape with silver. Like, you will have to clean and polish it regularly for it to continue to look good. And it was clear that that was the only thing that these earrings needed. They just needed to be cleaned and polished. However, she seemed to think that because they were tarnished, they were like bad quality or somehow damaged in some way. Like, when really she just needed to learn how to properly care for silver and like for her silver earrings and to like bring them back to life, I guess. And this video really struck with me because I feel like that this is something that I feel like a lot of people don't understand, which is that a lot of people seem to be under the impression that high quality items or like luxury items are indestructible, when in reality I would argue that like most luxury materials are actually extremely delicate. Like, for example, sterling silver, suede, silk, or even leather. Like, all of these require proper care and maintenance if you want them to stay looking good and to like last a really long time. They can last a really long time, but you have to care for them properly. So yeah, like if you start buying high quality pieces because you think they're indestructible, like you will be very disappointed. However, if you know how to properly care for these pieces and hopefully research how to care for them before buying them, they can like last a lifetime and even outlive you. Like, I feel like in this case, she would have really benefited from like researching the material, in this case silver, before buying those earrings. And like, if you're not willing to do that, like if you're not willing to take care of them and to like have to clean them and polish regularly, which is fine, like not everyone like wants to do that, like polishing silver can also be a bit of a pain, then just choose to buy something else. Maybe choose something in like white gold or something so you have the same look, but you don't have to like go through the care of it in the same way. So how can we tell if something is truly good quality? I think the key is to look at the full picture and to consider all the different components that contribute to quality. This can be anything from the materials being used to the craftsmanship to where the product was made to the product formulation if we're talking about beauty to brand consistency. Another huge tip I can give you is this: listen to actual experts. Just like I mentioned before with my Tiffany earrings example, please listen to people who actually know what they're talking about, not just people that may be knowledgeable to a certain extent, but that aren't true experts. This applies across the board to everything, not just jewelry and clothing, but also to beauty products and tech and so on. This is how misinformation is spread, how ingredients and different materials can be unfairly demonized, like the whole rumor going around on TikTok that Pantene makes your hair fall off. It wasn't really a huge narrative that was being pushed by chemists or dermatologists, and it's a narrative that absolutely blew up. It was something that was being pushed by regular people who were just repeating things that they have heard online. It's not like they were trying to mislead anyone, but they just didn't know any better because they're no experts. I mean, take me for example. I think I know a fair bit about jewelry and metals, like how to spot if something's real and how to take care of it because my mom taught me growing up. But at the end of the day, I'm not a jeweler and neither is she. I can still make a mistake or give bad advice just because I'm not an expert. Same thing goes for the people that talk about skincare ingredients without being trained chemists. Sure, you can be well informed to a certain extent, but it's not the same as working in the field. So if you really want to get better at identifying quality, learn, stay curious, do your own research, and seek out people that are experts in the areas that you care about. Honestly, I think that that's probably the most important thing, and it's what will help you the most in learning how to identify something that's truly high quality and something that's just marketed that way. Thankfully for us as consumers, more and more experts are showing up on social media to share their stories and expertise on how to tell if something is actually worth your money. One of my favorite creators doing this is Tanner Leatherstein here on YouTube. He is a leather tanner and craftsman who dissects luxury bags, and he breaks down the materials being used, the quality of the craftsmanship, and he estimates the amount it would cost to produce that item or bag. And then he would take that cost and he would compare that with the retail price, and he gives his opinion on whether he thinks it's a fair deal or not. Which brings us to something really important. Asking yourself what matters most to you when you're shopping. What are you willing to spend your money on and why? The answer to this will be completely different for everyone, and that's totally okay. For some people, their priority is to save money. For others is how a product looks or how it makes them feel. For me personally, I value a mix of quality, durability, aesthetics, and having that product fit into my lifestyle. And honestly, most brands don't fit or don't tick all the boxes. Brands will usually cut corners in at least one of these areas to reduce costs. So finding a product that does it all is pretty rare. At the end of the day, quality isn't just about materials or brand names. It also comes down to your priorities and your willingness to take care of the things you own. You can buy something made with the most luxurious materials and the finest craftsmanship, but if you don't know how to maintain it, it won't last. That's why it's so important to shop for your personal needs and preferences, not just marketing hype. There is no such thing as the perfect product, and nothing is indestructible. It's all about finding a balance that works for you. I think that as time goes on and we start getting to know ourselves a little bit better, we also start to learn what sort of items we get the most use out of and what our personal preferences are when it comes to shopping. We learn when we can splurge a little bit more money and when we can save a little bit more on other items. I find that a balanced approach is usually best for most people. You don't need the most expensive thing in every category. And at the same time, maybe buying the cheapest thing all the time won't work for you either. For me personally, I tend to spend a little bit more on makeup and skincare than I do on hair care and, perfume, than I do on hair care and skincare. But even within that, there's nuance. I usually tend to buy my mascaras from the drugstore, and I tend to go cheaper with that. And at the same time, I'll usually splurge a little bit more when I feel like it's worth it on something for my face, say like a moisturizer or something. Same thing goes for my clothing. I usually spend more money on clothes than I do on handbags, but I like to look for good quality in both. And my wardrobe is a mix of affordable and more premium brands like Cézanne. It's all about finding the balance. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what something costs. It's all about finding what works for you, your values, your lifestyle, and your budget. So, is expensive truly better? As we've seen throughout the video, it depends. Sometimes higher prices does mean better quality materials and ethical practices and finer craftsmanship, while sometimes it means that you're just paying for the brand name and the illusion of exclusivity built on marketing and perception. That's why it's so important to ask questions and to go beyond the price tag, to know what is most important to you. Is it durability, aesthetics, ethical practices, prestige? There's no wrong answer to this. The most important thing is that you're spending your money in a way that aligns with your needs and your lifestyle. Remember, marketing can sell you anything, but knowledge, curiosity, and critical thinking is what will help you spend your money the way that you want to. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about everything. What do you tend to save on and what do you tend to splurge on? And yeah, let me know what you thought about everything we talked about in this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe down below. It would mean a lot to me. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.